This poem is called Lyrical Minded. These bags under my eyes, they carry the dreams and the nightmares that I ain't had, 'cause sleep won't bother me. I am a bastard son of Africa, blessed without a native tongue. So I made poetry my language. I'll pronounce paradigm like paradigm just to make it rhyme. And love is my religion. Drop to my knees and pray to stacks of CDs, countless files of MP3s. Virgin Mary, sometimes she visits me in my dreams. Just to let me know I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right thing, she whispers in my ear. An angel sings every time you speak. So we sip Hennessy, the blood of our God. The slam is my church, where I spend endless hours inhaling the holy herb as I add verses to the good book. My roots, they're strong. They allow me to stay grounded. Whirlwind thought, I tongue twist theory. You could coat your body in Novocaine, and you still gonna feel me. Miracle in my syllables turn Kool-Aid to whiskey. I'm not doing this for the recognition. I'm not doing this for the fame. I want my words, I want my name to shape and mold the minds of future ages for change. I was told by a yogi in Berkeley, every time you touch the stage, you better bring the message. We have more heart than doubt. The ink in our swords will never run out. Raise your glasses. This is a toast to the poets, to use your words as influence. Motivate, mobilize, and educate the masses. I got a confession to make. More drugs. It's called poetry. And I'm an addict, and I'm starting to see the side effect. I'm telling you, I could take a razor blade, slip my wrist, start to bleed ink and shit metaphors. Spit heat, go bulimic, start yakking and vomit the truth. I was asked by a high school student I did a writing workshop for. He was like, yo, Dre, if you went blind, deaf, and mute in the next twilight, couldn't write or perform poetry, what would you do? And I thought about this. I came to the conclusion I'd feel around for the largest pocket rocket I could find. Press it to my temple, pull the trigger, and expose my brain so the whole world can see exactly what's on my mind. This poem is dedicated to the youth of Lyrical Minded 4 and 5. Yeah, you were born underprivileged. That makes you the underdogs. And there will always be Jill Tuckers to kick you when you're down. So every time you fall, you better learn to stand up faster. And the next time she decides to let your name slip from between her lips, tell her to do you a favor. Tell her to pull her pants down. Take a long dump. Wipe her ass, stuff the toilet tissue into her mouth so that the next time she speaks, some better shit'll come out. Let your dreams be strong enough. You could build a mountain tall enough you can see your future off of. What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? You. The name of this piece is called Wake Up Call. When the student is asked for his homework, he laughs like I must be joking. This school is in Vallejo, but this substitute teacher has seen these walls before. In Oakland, Detroit, anywhere else forgotten about by real estate booms, the student laughs because he sees desperation leaking out of the walls built in the 70s, lit by dim blinking fluorescents. The student laughs because his eyes are open. This young boy is no fool, and he knows that this desperation is a learned behavior, and his spine cheers with a shiver that causes the sun to rise, that only he can see. His personal path of illumination rises from his ribcage like a hot air balloon, fueled by words his teacher told him. Your mind is a tool. Sharpen it on books like they were whetstones to cut cords so you can hover above desperate patterns and think for yourself, son. This student is awake. He won't sit down, shut up, or listen blankly anymore. But we are seeding our youth with vines designed to choke out life, cafeterias and prisons. And schools train gut as mind to shut up and swallow the blankets provided by Cisco systems. School buildings fall from the same architects that churn out prisons. Both structures clenched around the necks of their inhabitants, strangling enthusiasm that will grow outside the bricks. Stacked, lining student prisoners in cell or desk, accustomed to jumping at the sound of a bell, off to the next detention center. It is time for a wake-up call, but we are seeding our youth with vines designed to choke out life, and are surprised that babies drop out of students as often as students drop out of high school. We're surprised as students with numb noses and punctured veins to punctuate the I don't give a fuck attitude that drains into classrooms from governors' budget cuts, trimming a little future out of our lives. School buildings have become an American theme since the days of Francis Bellamy, winding up a sales pitch in the form of a flag salute, a wholesale conditioning of government school kids. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. His mission was to create an industrial army, and he saw the flag salute as the beginning of engrinding blind obedience in the students. In 1888, there was one slight difference in the flag salute. Students' arms were raised to honor the republic straight from the shoulder. Francis Bellamy, the program pirate, infamous flag dealer, left his mark like the lynch letter, slanging the image of the red, white, and confused. Francis Bellamy owns the copyrights to the Pledge of Allegiance, sold it to government schools to create armies of industrial, militant-minded Pavlov's lapdogs instead of what should be students. Students are force-fed, falsified information while they sit entranced. It is time for a wake-up call. Instead of a pledge to empire, how about a pledge to what moves us? Freedom from books bound by chapters that only speak of Eurocentric beginnings. I pledge allegiance to the light of knowledge so that it may bounce off people like they were mirrors, transforming any classroom into this one. The name of this poem is called It Ain't Easy Being Brown Chased by the Boys in Blue. Hands behind his back screaming, please don't shoot. Face to the pavement. Last thing he thinking about the daughter that he raising. Spark to the fuse, watch the city cave in. We can't rely on the law, just acts of desperation. Outlaw fury. How can I get justice with an all-white jury? I've been working on becoming a master of my craft. The poets I look up to have the ability to turn their thoughts into art. And then there's Atlas. Atlas is strong enough to hold our world on his shoulders. And then there's me. I'm shifting the mindset of an entire community, so feel the fire in my cipher. It'll be my delight to ignite the spark in your brains. There are truth in my words, poet style. Hold on to a memory so you can see it through verse. Beneath this flesh, there are steel-coated lungs, and my words weigh a ton. I grew up around flying bullets. You either duck or you run. He dropped his first body on accident when he was 14. He would be 20 right now, and he used to do it for fun. The other morning, I swear to you, I saw a fiend right in front of an elementary schoolhouse blowing on crack, while the elementary school kids is at recess, seeing and smelling this shit. So maybe you can tell me how they're supposed to act. You see, the ghetto gets glorified, and the kids are the ones that get caught in a trap. There's no communication, can't bridge the gap. Be safe, and I love you are at the end of every conversation because we know where we at. I told Buck and AD, they died the same week, just a day apart. Be safe, and I love you at the end of our very last conversation because we know where we at. Sometimes I get tense, and it's hard to relax. So I sit back, close my eyes, and imagine picket black fences, blue skies and green grass, no dope and no task, no fiends and no trash. Flip it all around, you'll see how I'm living. I ain't seen a new college, but I seen a new prison. I said flip it all around, you'll see how we living. I ain't seen a new college, have you seen the new prison? Reporters, they're asking questions, digging the scoop, because youngsters got trigger fingers itching to shoot. We're in a military mind state. Oakland is baby Baghdad, and Richmond is mini Fallujah. I see my way out through writing real dope poetry. Just listen to your comatose. This just the first one. Wait for the overdose. This is to my fam getting down in these streets. Break bread with your brother at the table, no beef. If we think as a collective, we all gonna eat. We gotta keep it close-knit because the rats want cheese. The snakes gonna follow them. Why? Because that's how they feed. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. There's no peace in the streets. We got it bad, but it's worse than the favelas and the barrios. Smile if you black or brown. What you feeling sorry for? Each one, teach one, open your mind when I speak. I'm on my A game, couldn't fade me with bleach. My message is relevant, and well, hell, y'all heard it. My style is elegant, but that won't translate to change. So I'm gonna play my position as a poet. Treat these verses like seeds and plant them in your brains. We are in the eye of the storm. So for now, we're just gonna have to sit through. The name of this poem is called Unbreakable Transformation. Constant change is the fundamental law of the universe. In the 5 a.m. soupy mist of a Bay Area night, me and Patrick sped across the Bay Bridge, just trying to get home. The hopes of our late night return erupted with the explosion of our right front tire collapsing in its only breath. Holy fuck, we're fucked. Just realized there's no shoulder to pull off to. Thump, thump, thump. The ruptured wheel spit out a percussive beat like a funeral procession. Tire treads wrapped around the axle, freezing us to be as still as the last grain of sand falling through an hourglass. We waited there, imprisoned on the freeway, while being blasted on either side by 50-mile-an-hour meteorite vehicles that were mere inches away. Our car rocked in a sickening slow cradle, with the sound of every passing ton of metal on wheels rang out as a lullaby death knell. In the split second frozen before inevitable impact, Patrick said, "Dre, really fucked, man. I wish we had some weed." The final syllables were cut from his throat like a tongue smashed by molars. As I spit this poem, I know he can still taste the blood. The squealing vehicle tore into our rear left side, sending shock waves up the backs of our skulls. Sinew and muscle for the neighbor to hold skeletons in place. Screeching, time stopped. Our eyes could not blink. Propped open by shards of glass, even the air was afraid to move. Sleek silver was transformed into a hunk of tortured metal. Our lives were reshaped by the hand of death and the time it takes for brakes to lock. 2 seconds passed, but in that moment, we saw centuries elapse. All accidents end in sickening stillness. We exhaled, fell back into rhythm with the rest of the world. I turned to Patrick, reaching out, I asked instantly, "Are you all right?" Then I climbed out of the busted window with hopes of not having to put my CPR training to the test, and I didn't. I saw 2 chicks that would be cute, framing noses gushing like fire hydrants in the back seat, and the driver, soaked in booze and blood, dazed and confused but alive and conscious. A warmth passed from body to body, fusing us to basic human connection. The best thing any of us got, the only anchor while hurtling through a mist of cathartic tornadoes spinning faster than a clock could ever measure. Every one of us is altered on a daily basis, and somehow, we all come back to where we left off, just trying to get home, brimming with busted up gratitude for our lives still intact, warm arms to dive into, the weed smoke we never got, but know it's out there. Unending thankfulness, we already dropped our friend Seth off, and there was no one in the back seat when the car was crushed by a 50-mile-an-hour wrecking ball. This could too easily have been a poem about death. We are blessed to walk so closely to the edge, peer into limitless vastness where clocks bend, where Dali spent his daydreams. No human being is the sum total of predictable slices of time. We are metronomes, shaped to endure intensity. We are the depth of every step, forged by our presence and this moment of unbreakable transformation. The name of this poem is called Whiskey Dream Girl. The only thing we had in common at first was our 16-year-old addiction to alcohol. It started with her late night and early morning phone call orders. See, $30 got us a nice sized bottle of gin. The end of our day, the start to our journey. When you got tired of drinking alone, you wanted a partner in crime, and I was always looking for trouble. After our first kiss, you called me crying, because you felt guilty. You had a boyfriend. Atop the fact we got shit-faced that day. Baby, you get so emotional when you're drunk. That was our aim. We never missed it. Back then, it felt like I drank because there was an abyss, a whole part of my heart missing, and with you, I felt whole. On Christmas, when I was 17, I got on one knee, told you I loved you, pulled out a ring that my mom helped me pick out, and asked you to marry me. Your eyes full of tears. You dove in my arms and you kissed me, but you never said yes. The year and some change you spent in Langston, we spoke a few times until we didn't. The only things I miss more than you are the times of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Pop Warner football. The only times in my life I'm sure I was ever truly happy. After 2 months of no words, you knocked on my door. You were 20 pounds heavier. You've never been more beautiful. I knew bulimia couldn't beat you, and you still had the ring on. And you swore to me you never took it off. In that moment, your actions spoke louder than my words ever could. I heard you loud and clear. You were my whiskey dream girl. And now, I prefer Jim Beam to your company. I realized it the night we said it at the same time. I have something to tell you. You went first. You told me you met a guy. You told me you loved him. You told me y'all are getting a place. You also told me you were pregnant. That's crazy, because I was gonna say the same exact thing, except plus me and minus the baby. You were my whiskey dream girl. And now, I'd rather be sober.